So, yeah, overwhelming majority of the people support restrictions to the first 3 months. I mean, so you're talking 90 days in, right? But the contentious issue that it is, correct? All right, let's get to the grasshopper. Morning, grasshopper. Now, let me see. Come on, computer. Pick him up. Pick him up. All right, the computer's not wanting to do this. What's going on? All right, I'll have to do a double check on that. Because we got Scarecrow checking in, Grasshopper's on the line, and I'm not exactly sure. Okay, meanwhile, it's 844-844-3388. Got a news break coming up here, and we'll get back to your calls. For the first time ever, they tell us farmers the world over, all at the same time, are testing the limits of how little chemical fertilizer they can apply without devastating the yields come harvest time. And the early predictions are bleak, they say. Brazil, the world's biggest soybean producer, a 20% cut in potash could bring a 14% drop in yields, according to an industry consultant. In Costa Rica, a coffee cooperative representing 1,200 small producers sees their output falling as much as 15% next year if the farmers miss even 1/3 of their normal application of fertilizer. In West Africa, falling fertilizer use will shrink this year's rice and corn harvest by 1/3. According to the International Fertilizer Development Center, probably farmers will grow enough to feed themselves, but the question is what they will have left to feed the cities. All this discussion about global food shortages, Ukraine, Russia, there's several stories about that this past day. The incredible amount of grain that is being halted from being shipped out of some of the ports right now. And of course, the reliance on Russia was such a big supplier of the fertilizer. The prices are going through the roof, and it doesn't look good early on. So we'll delve a bit more into that coming up here just ahead. First, let's take care of that news break here, and I'll see if I can get the phones fixed up. It is 844-844-3388, the Steve Sommers Overnight Drive, live from the Hot Shot Secret Studios.
USA Radio News with Kenneth Burns.
About 200 civilians, including 20 children, remain at the steel plant in Mariupol. That's what a Ukrainian official tells the Washington Post. The plant is where Ukrainian soldiers continue to resist Russian force. Civilians started to evacuate the plant over the weekend. This is what one woman told NBC News.
There were 40 of us, this woman says. We boiled 2 buckets of soup, and that was our meal for the whole day.
Some civilians left for Ukrainian-controlled territory. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov on Italian television not only repeated the false premise for his country invading Ukraine, he also suggested Hitler was Jewish. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer among the many who condemned the remarks.
They tap into the very old and very poisonous notion that the Jewish people themselves were the architects of the worst human atrocities of modern history. Mr. Foreign Minister, you're fooling no one.
This is USA
audio
Radio
recording
News.
An adult elephant can weigh up to 6 tons. The average person, 150 pounds. Ever heard of carfentanil? It's a large wild animal tranquilizer. Illegal drug dealers lace heroin with it. It can kill the average human. If you or a loved one is addicted to opiates, even pain pills, don't wait until it's too late. Call the Detox and Treatment Helpline now. We care. Many of us have been where you are. We'll take you or a loved one away from the drug environment to a place you can clean out safely. Plus, we'll work with your insurance company to make sure you get the treatment you need. And with a Family Medical Leave Act, you're allowed by law to get away for help without telling your employer why. Call now to save a life. 800-707-9709. 800-707-9709. That's 800-707-9709.
You're listening to the Overnight Drive with Steve Sommers.
Drivers, you demand that your equipment's reliable and dependable, and that also applies to your headset for communication. Well, our friends at Stellar Electronic have you covered. The Pluto Duo headset bundle is the best communication headset you can find in the industry. No matter the challenging environment you're driving in, the Pluto headset will make you sound crystal clear all the time thanks to their 99% noise cancellation. And the Duo's not only a stereo converter for the headset, but also a power bank so you can charge as you go. Learn more at StellarElectronic.com or visit them on Facebook.
Do you have a Dodge pickup and hate your automatic transmission? Of course you do. LaVon Miller at Firepunk Diesel here, and we specialize in heavy-duty and performance transmissions for your 3/4 or 1-ton Cummins-powered truck. So if you're interested in turning your stock slush box into a towing monster, call us today at 614-733-3744 or visit us online at shop.firepunk.com.
It's coming. Crisp fall mornings turn bitter cold. As you fire up your diesel, you can see your breath on the inside of the cab. Imagine looking deep into your engine. Freezing temperatures impact your diesel's fluids, especially fuel. On a 23-degree morning, the paraffin wax in your untreated fuel starts to morph from fluid to large crystals. These crystals clump together and form a gel. At minus 10 degrees, your fuel hits the point where it no longer pours like a liquid. It's so dense that the flow through the fuel filter will slow, causing hard starts or no starts. Get prepared now for the cold that is coming. Hot Shot's Secret Diesel Winter Anti-Gel is a premium fuel additive that lowers your fuel's pour point to minus 65 degrees. If it's that cold out, you shouldn't be on the road. You ought to be at home in front of the fireplace. Hot Shot's Secret Diesel Winter Anti-Gel Premium Fuel Additive. Available now online at HotShotSecret.com. Hot Shot Secret. Powered by science.
Attention all truckers, Dean Michael, the tax doctor here. I want to talk to you about those dreaded tax problems. I know you want to keep on trucking and not even think about them. Well, let's face it, they're not going away all on their own. You need professional help. I've been helping truckers put their tax problems in the rearview mirror for years. I can help you too. Call me for a free consultation at 888-632-4506 or go to mytaxhelpmd.com. It's like I always say, keep your eyes on the road, I'll keep mine on the IRS. 888-632-4506.
After a long winter road trip, there's nothing like coming home to a warm, comfortable home. Hi, I'm Steve with USA Insulation. When we put our foam in your walls, it's like putting a coat around your entire home. It keeps the cold air out and the warm air in. We're getting homes ready right now for winter, and we have $1,000 savings for everyone. But because we love our truckers, we're going to give you an additional $250 discount for mentioning the show. 1-800-USA-FOAM or USAinsulation.net.
Hey, Dad, your prescription will be ready in just a minute. Hey, Dad, your laundry will be ready in just a minute. Dad, your lunch will be ready in just a minute.
Hey, honey, why don't you take a minute? When you help care for a loved one, you give them as much time as you can, making sure they're safe and comfortable. But it's just as important that you take some time for yourself. At AARP, we can help with information and useful tips on how you can maintain a healthy life balance, care for your own physical and mental well-being, and manage the challenges of caring for a loved one. Because the better care you take of yourself, the better care you can provide for your loved one.
Thanks, Dad.
Thank you. You're there for them. We're here for you. Find free care guides to support you and your loved one at aarp.org/caregiving. That's aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
And now, back to the Steve Sommers Overnight Drive, live from the Hot Shot Secret Studios.
They're dealing with a lot of strong thunderstorms this morning in the heart of the country. Oh, even since we've got things started here at the midnight hour Eastern time, this line of thunderstorms is really congealed and extends from all the way back in central Texas. Stretching from about Mineral Wells to McKinney, Texas, making a beeline toward the Dallas metro area, extending all the way up through now. west central Arkansas, up into northeastern portions of Arkansas. There in Jonesboro, you'll be looking at the storms in fairly short order. Little Rock, maybe a couple hours from now. You can extend all the way up into, zoom out a little bit here, right through the heart of Missouri and on up into Illinois. You've had several rounds pushed through the St. Louis area. A little bit of a break in the action right now. Way out and ahead of that main line, there's a separate line that's formed, stretching from right about Evansville. Not very intense there. You'll see some heavier rains. You get down into western Kentucky, though, from about Madisonville down to Murray. Pretty strong line there that has been prompting some severe thunderstorm warnings for that area. Looks to be a pretty active day today for a Tuesday. All right, Scarecrow, hey there.
You know, Steve, if you didn't want to hear from me, you could just let me know instead of carrying on like you have a failed phone system or such.
Thanks for dialing back up. I don't know. Yeah, well, see, we got this set up last evening. It's the first night. Remember back when we first started the program, I had to reset the phones every X number of hours kind of thing. I don't know if that's kind of the case with this or what. It might be.
Yeah, it's obviously a new and improved system, but I got a few gremlins there. But yeah, it sure is nice not having that lag between responses.
Yes.
Two-way conversation and such. But yeah, I thought I know my full headphone was dead to begin with, so I got charging cord on that, and I got a charging cord on my phone now. But anyway, regarding that Supreme Court leak issue and whatnot, what better way to distract from the failed policies of the current administration?
Right.
You know? It kind of all the news is going to be hailed around this thing for the next few days or weeks, and actually, it could very well be that we'll come dragged around till next fall and election time and whatnot. See, Friday night I tried calling in, but doggone work keeps interrupting. You're going to either have to add an hour to your program, or I'm going to have to arrange for my shipper to close up shop for about an hour so I can catch that last hour of yours there. So I did not get any of my BS in for last week. But I'm going to get a serious thing out of the way first here. Any of yours / our listeners that routinely run I-80 out of Sacramento, I brought this up quite some time back, and I'm looking for a little assistance for our son. In a couple weeks, he's going to be dragging a camper and his truck and a dog and a couple fish, an aquarium, back to Wisconsin here. He's transferring, him and the family are going to Korea for a couple of years. He's in the military. And either way, he's bringing that camper our way. We're going to store it for him. And he was wondering the other night about, truck stops and how truck drivers feel about campers and RVs parking, taking up spots. And, well, I said good luck to begin with, figuring he'll probably be looking around the 6 to 8 p.m. hour for a truck place to park. And I kind of started wondering, well, Walmart in the past has been kind of had open policy on different stores. I'm just wonder if anybody out that way, out west, would have a strong feeling on his options as far as parking. He's looking to cover about 500 miles a day.
Okay.
So I know I guess some Walmarts have been clamping down and such on camper park and RV parking. Like so often happens, a few ruin it for the masses and such. But yeah, that if anybody, it'd be a good time for a first-time caller to chime in on that one. Let's see. Then there, Steve, we got our new furnaces in place. They finished that up last Friday there, so I don't have a pilot light anymore. So I'm figuring about 48 years that the new furnace is going to pay for itself. That'll bring me in at about let's see, you got a birthday coming up Sunday, so that'll make me about 116, 117. I'll probably be about done cutting firewood by then too, you know.
Right.
So anyway, a little bit of BS here. I finally shut our wood boiler down before I left the house tonight. Our temperatures are finally looks like gonna be up in the 60s and 70s, you know, for the next week and a half. But this darn slow spring to come, I've dipped well into my my wood supply for next year. So my thoughts are, I haven't talked to Big Moose about this yet. I'm sure he'll jump all over this opportunity. I'm thinking maybe to put on a wood cutting bee right around maybe about the 23rd, 24th of June. Now you got to bear with me here. This is going to all come around as a happy note. I've seen the A list, his contact A list, and there's several on there that I'm sure are going to chime in. Can you hear me, Pappy? They're going to want to join in, and Steve, you're on that list too, by the way.
Uh-oh.
So you're going to want to get somebody to fill in for you on probably the Thursday night program, maybe even Wednesday night. I don't know. Depends on how quick you want to get this in operation here. But either way, he's going to load up that microbus of able-bodied souls. They're going to work their way up to Wisconsin here and do a little wood splitting and whatnot. Now, this is where you kind of come in here. Now, knowing the Moose, supplies are probably going to run low by the time he gets up to Wisconsin here. So he's going to bypass, run up 94 through Milwaukee. Now, coincidentally, Blatz comes out of the Miller bottler up here. So we're covering both bases here, Steve. Now, you're a light drinker, are you not?
I am indeed, yes.
Well, see, we can. You're going to be able to top your cooler off the same time you top Moose's coolers. That's plural, by the way, coolers. And so it's kind of a sightseeing thing at the same time. Anyway, we get up here up to our place over west side of the state. We'll do our thing. And I'm sure there'll be some kumbaya around the campfire. Ricky Roadway, isn't he from Davenport or Dubuque, something like that?
I think he's Dubuque, yeah, Dubuque.
Yeah, shucks, that ain't but a couple hours, if that, from where we do our wood cutting and whatnot. It could be a little battle of the bands almost, Then for those that really aren't interested so much in the firewood splitting part of it, coincidentally, that's the same weekend as the National Tractor Pulling Association's up here to Toma for their the Super National Pull. It's a 3-day event. Starts Thursday, and goes all weekend there. So, and my thoughts are, Hillbilly Tex, he's going to want to bring that cart of his with. And he's going to have to replace some granny panties with an Ntpa banner on top of that flagpole of his. If he slaps some official stickers on the side, but he'll probably have the run of the property that whole weekend, So that's something to, I guess, a plug for the pole. That's basically our home track. Ain't but an hour from the house. Going back, the tractor I was associated with, he won Toma both 87 and 86 and 87 or 87 and 88. Either way, it went on to take the Grand National title that year too. So, but either way, that was my BS for last week. I'll probably have more for this week coming up, but that's about all I got for the moment here, pal.
Very good. All right. Thank you much for checking in, Scarecrow. Have a great morning. And let me flip back over here. I think, talking about the fuel prices. Well, I think Bring that up over here. Yeah, why we should all be concerned. Yeah, we got the latest numbers, right? On a Monday. The cost of trucks taking to the highway will be hitting Americans across the board as record diesel fuel prices are slamming the transportation industry. Average price for a gallon of diesel as of yesterday, Monday, $5.32 per gallon. We set another record, second day in a row, according to AAA. The price is a 72% increase from the average price per gallon a year ago, which, believe it or not, 1 year ago, your diesel was $3.08 per gallon. Things at the grocery store will all be more expensive. Take a cruise, it's going to be more expensive. Board a plane, it's going to be more expensive. Filling up the tank is going to be more expensive. I really don't see the situation improving drastically anytime soon. It's going to take time and additional refining capacity to boost up the supply of diesel and jet fuel back to adequate levels. Truckers are being pinched by the increase because they pay out more without their revenue increasing. As the prices are skyrocketing, we still aren't getting good prices for the loads we haul. If it goes any higher than this and the price of the load doesn't come up as well, drivers, some will just call it quits. Now, in an op-ed for the Fresno Bee, Rob Faulkner, president of Faulkner Trucking, and this year's president of the California Trucking Association, says the current situation leads to increased prices for consumers and, of course, economic pain for the trucking community. Independent truckers, small trucking companies are particularly hurt by this crisis. These companies are operating in markets which do not always compensate for the increased cost of fuel. The impact to small fleets is especially concerning because more than 95% of the trucking companies in this country operate 20 or fewer trucks. They are the backbone of the industry, struggling to keep up with out-of-control costs. Further noted that not only are international events to blame, but also policies right here at home. Let's go, Brandon. He then delivered the bottom line. If truckers cannot afford to drive, the goods will not move. Jimmy Quarles, who's driven log trucks through Arkansas for 20 years, tells the trucker, someone's got to do something. This cannot last the way it is. For the little man like me, it's bad. It's like everything else right now. There seems to be no end in sight. And what people do not realize is this is going to trickle down. Your lumber prices will affect your toilet paper, will affect your paper plates, it will affect your pulp. So many things are going to go up because of these prices at the pump. We know that, and we're seeing it firsthand. But yeah, 2 days in a row now, record prices. National average, $5.32 per gallon for diesel. We'll return into the Steve Sommers Overnight Drive live from the Hot Shot Secret Studios.
You're listening to the Overnight Drive with Steve Sommers. It's coming. Crisp fall mornings turn bitter cold. As you fire up your diesel, you can see your breath on the inside of a cab. Imagine looking deep into your engine. Freezing temperatures impact your diesel's fluids, especially fuel. On a 23-degree morning, the paraffin wax in your untreated fuel starts to morph from fluid to large crystals. These crystals clump together and form a gel. At minus 10 degrees, your fuel hits the point where it no longer pours like a liquid. It's so dense that the flow through the fuel filter will slow, causing hard starts or no starts. Get prepared now for the cold that is coming. Hot Shot's Secret Diesel Winter Anti-Gel is a premium fuel additive that lowers your fuel's pour point to minus 65 degrees. If it's that cold out, you shouldn't be on the road. You ought to be at home in front of the fireplace. Hot Shot's Secret Diesel Winter Anti-Gel Premium Fuel Additive. Available now online at hotshotsecret.com. Hot Shot Secret. Powered by science.
Do you have a Dodge pickup and hate your automatic transmission? Of course you do. Levon Miller at Firepunk Diesel here, and we specialize in heavy-duty and performance transmissions for your 3-quarter or 1-ton Cummins-powered truck. So if you're interested in turning your stock slush box into a towing monster, call us today at 614-733-3744 or visit us online at shop.firepunk.com.
Honorary Forest Ranger Betty White here, lending a hand to my dear friend Smokey Bear. Because for years, he's only said,
only you can prevent wildfires.
But there's a lot more to say. Like if you park your car on tall, dry grass, the hot exhaust pipe can start a wildfire. So keep the animals safe, especially the cute shirtless one. Go to SmokeyBear.com to learn more about wildfire prevention. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
And now, back to the Steve Sommers Overnight Drive, live from the Hot Shot Secret Studios.
All right, pick it back up here. Back to the phones we go. Dan's on board. I know Dan's called and lost his cell a couple times. Morning, Dan. What's happening?
No, you didn't lose the cell. I had to get off because I had to, get clocked out and everything. But anyway, you all ready to vote, or have you already voted?
I have not voted, but yeah, today's, I almost forgot. Yeah, primary day, right?
Oh, yeah. It's a big one up there. And this is another way they're finding to trash President Trump by saying, there's all these candidates and he's endorsed J.D. Vance. So I would urge those who support President Trump, especially, I wonder, do they honestly think this? I do think they're going to overturn Roe v. Wade.
Mm-hmm.
Do they think that would have occurred without President Trump? I mean, do you think a President Romney would have appointed people like that if not that the guy had a chance of winning? But, I mean, they're trying to say, well, this will be a test of President Trump to see if his people if they want to get rid of him. Now they're saying, well, we like what Trump did, but we just don't like Trump.
Mm-hmm.
That's the new technique of some of the rhinos, like Asa Hutchinson from Arkansas. I'm going to run in, basically, he says, with or without, whether President Trump runs or not. But it's an important election tomorrow, Steve. I know you get off at weird hours. Whether to vote, I guess, probably in the middle of the day would be better for less lines, right?
Typically, I get up there right about the time the polls open. And I mean, especially for a primary, I don't think I'd have to wait hardly at all.
Yeah, I don't know how much turnout they're going to have, on primaries. But nowadays, the primaries pretty much determines in some states. I vote Missouri, and on some of the statewide offices, if you win the Republican nomination, you pretty much are going to be. Ohio's kind of that way too on a lot of the offices, a lot of the positions that they're holding. But anyway, I just found that. By the way, before I get off here, your Reds gonna. I hope May's a little better for them than April's. They're looking to do, if they kept up at this pace, did they win 3 games? Is that what it was in April?
That's that's correct. 3 games, that's it.
Yeah, well, they'd be, I think, 40 and 120 for the season. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
But,
it's bad.
It's bad. It's coming around. But anyway, I hope everything's going all right with your family and everything. And I'm out here. I listen to the show every night, but don't always have a chance to call in because I'm getting in and out of a truck. And you know what I'm saying? I don't want to leave you on hold and me not be there when you get back. So but anyway, well, take care. Maybe I'll call you tomorrow night. We'll have election results.
All right. Thank you very much. And yes, the Reds, I mean, here we are, May the 3rd, and they are 10 games out of first place. They've played 22 games on the season, and they've won 3. 3-19. Off to a roaring start. It's ugly. All right, now what do we got? A couple minutes before we hit top of the hour. Let me grab Joe, I believe it is. What's going on this morning? Joe, good to have you with us.
Morning, Steve. How you doing?
Hanging with them.
That's good. This fuel prices, so much for Brandon releasing the strategic reserves, huh? I was here in Winchester. I texted Gilligan there a little bit ago. $5.55 a gallon. That's just ridiculous.
$5.55. Wow.
Yeah, $5.55. I mean, it's local sheet stores, which is a little bit higher in some of the other stores, I think, but that's just outrageous. I'm glad I got rid of my Cummins pickup, Dodge. Because got a Hemi now. It's not much easier on gas, but it's a little cheaper anyhow.
Yeah.
By the way, I keep forgetting to ask you. I was down at the truck show there, and I walked by your booth a few times. Used to interview on Pappy and Horse Fairs at one time. By on a Saturday morning, and Princess said you was recuperating from the Friday night party. Said you didn't want to show up too early. You was out partying too much Friday night, I guess.
Oh, we all went out Friday night. That was the night, the whole Hot Shot Secret crew went out Friday night. Saturday was, I had to be there. We were there early. Saturday, we broadcast live from 10 to 3.
Let's see. No, it was, I said Friday. Thursday night you was out. Friday. Yeah, I left Saturday morning early, so it had to be Friday. Said you was out walking the floor, checking things out.
Yeah, because I mean, I think we started. Broadcast started at noon there on Friday. Yeah, we did noon to 5. Yep.
Yeah. I thought it was pretty crowded there, but I read a little article on which one it was that said that they didn't break no records, but I got there fairly early on Thursday, and I thought the daggone thing was pretty crowded already.
I kind of felt the same way Thursday. It felt like, at least to me, it felt like it was pretty busy. But when the overall final tally was in, it was well down. Was it 55,000, something like that? Was total attendance 58,000 maybe?
I figured all the major manufacturers would have been there, might have brought it up, but who knows?
Yeah.
I know you're up on top of the hour breaker, everybody. So take care. I'll talk to you later on.
All right. Well, good to hear from you, Joe. You got it. Thank you for checking in. And, yep, there you go. So what do we got? Coming up here, it's 844-3388. First, we get a news break, the Steve Sommers Overnight Drive, live from the Hot Shot Secret Studios.
USA Radio News with Kenneth Burns.
Russia's 10-week invasion of Ukraine has cost the lives of 3,000 civilians. USA Radio's Tim Burke leads off this hour.
The United Nations made that announcement Monday, but the Office of the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights believes the actual number is much higher. Their figure shows at least another 3,000 have been hurt in the fighting. The UN specifically mentioned multiple regions, including Mariupol, are places where there are allegations of numerous civilian casualties. From the USA Radio News Phoenix Bureau, I'm Tim Berg.
Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer joining the chorus of condemnation against remarks made by Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov on Italian television, claiming falsely that Hitler was Jewish.
Mr. Lavrov's comments are just sickening and deserve to be condemned by all who oppose the dangers of anti-Semitism.
This is USA Radio News.
The MyPillow.com clearance continues. Roll and go anywhere. MyPillow's $9.99. The Body Pillow $39.99. And MyPillow bath sheets on sale 50% off. Use my promo code USA. Go to MyPillow.com/radio specials. You'll also get a free copy of Mike Lindell's book. MyPillow.com/radio specials. Use promo code USA or 1-800-951-8175.
The European Union is stepping up its antitrust case against Apple. The nation bloc is accusing the tech company of abusing its dominant position by limiting access to technologies allowing contactless payment. An EU official says Apple has built a closed ecosystem around its devices and that the company has shielded its Apple Pay system from competition. Apple in a statement said it will continue to engage with the Commission to ensure European customers have access to the payment option of their choice in a safe and secure environment. The father of JonBenet Ramsey is supporting a petition asking Colorado's governor to intervene in the investigation into the girl's death. The 6-year-old was found brutally killed in the basement of the family's home in Boulder the day after Christmas back in 1996. Her death was ruled a homicide, but no one was prosecuted for the crime. John Ramsey tells KUSA-TV he wants DNA evidence he claims that was never tested to be transferred away from Boulder police to a different agency. You're listening to USA Radio News.
Gunsmoke. Fort Laramie. Have gun. Will travel. Frontier gentleman.
Luke Slaughter of Tombstone.
The greatest radio shows of all time. Classic radio theater with Wyatt Cox. On many of these radio stations or online. Just search for Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. That's Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
Mike Lindell has been banned from Twitter again. The MyPillow founder returned to the platform Sunday, but his account was yanked hours later. A spokesperson for the social media company said the account was permanently suspended for violating ban evasion rules. Lindell was banned for the first time last year for spreading misinformation about the 2020 election. His attempt to rejoin came after Tesla and SpaceX CEO Elon Musk announced a $44 billion deal to purchase the platform. Musk has been critical about the content moderation rules on Twitter. Almost two-thirds of workers at an Amazon warehouse in Staten Island, New York, rejected a union bid. The Amazon labor union, weighing whether or not to challenge the results, it scored a surprising victory at a nearby facility last month. Connecticut officials have launched a new state program to help families and residents who had financial hardships due to the pandemic. The new My Home CT initiative will provide grant assistance to homeowners who need to cover housing costs. Homeowners can apply for up to $30,000. California's population declined again last year. State officials say the shrinking population is due to a slowdown in births and immigration, coupled with an increase in deaths and people leaving the state. It still remains the country's most populous state with more than 39 million residents. Texas is in a distant second with 29.5 million residents. Listen to us online at usaradio.com. For USA Radio News, I'm Kenneth Burns.
At Hotshot Secret, we share the science behind common diesel problems. For example,
stiction.
Found throughout the oil system, stiction is the sticky friction that negatively impacts your engine's ability to function at an optimal level. The molecular structure of oil is a hydrocarbon. The engine's extreme heat, tight tolerances, and high pressure cause the oil to break down and release hydrogen, leaving behind varnish, a carbon-based deposit. The varnish clings to the engine's moving parts, creating drag on the turbocharger, oil pump, and pistons. Symptoms of stiction include a rough idle and the loss of fuel economy and performance. Hotshot Secret Stiction Eliminator delivers a 98% clean rating in third-party scrub tests. Its synthetic cleaner plus nano lubricant contains no harmful solvents and is formulated to be left in the engine to safely dissolve stiction for thousands of miles. It works as you drive.
Stiction Eliminator is available at truck stops, Tractor Supply, O'Reilly's Auto Parts, and online at HotShotSecret.com. Hotshot Secret, powered by science.
Well, that midnight hour is upon us, and we really got a long, long way to go. How will we stay awake? Thanks to Chris, for goodness sake. We got Steve Sommers on the radio. We got that hot shot secret in the diesel. You know, it really makes that Detroit come to life. We're gonna hear from all our friends. We're gonna do it all again on this overnight drive. How about you, Big Ed? Are you with me? Break 1-9 for that Carolina monkey gouger. Negatory there, hillbilly. You clean clear to Flagtown. Let it roll. Well, we all tune in to catch the weather, whether rain or sleet or even snow. It don't matter if you're in New York or Dallas. We'll catch it all on that Steve Sommers show. We got that hot shot secret in the diesel. You know, it really makes that Detroit come to life. We're gonna hear from all our friends. We're gonna do it all again on this overnight drive. We got that hot shot secret in the diesel. You know, it really makes that Detroit come to life. We're gonna hear from all our friends. We're gonna do it all again on this overnight drive. Let's start this overnight drive.
Yes, indeed. Here we go. Welcome into a Tuesday, friends on the West Coast, where it's 12:07 a.m. Meanwhile, 3:07 on the East Coast. And everybody else somewhere in between here on a Tuesday morning. Final week of our 5-week contest. $1,000 daily driver bonus contest. How about a bonus keyword? Are you ready? Your chance to win $1,000 and a shot at the $10,000 grand prize. Keyword for this hour will be fly. F-L-Y. Fly. Fly like an eagle. So you fly on over to tncradio.live on the web or the tncradio.live app. Enter that keyword, fly. That's another entry. Actually, you get 4 keywords per day. Once we get through our Tuesday, only 3 days left. Can't win if you don't enter. Fly. There you go. There's your keyword. All right, we were talking about fertilizer. All these discussions of a potential global food shortage. For the billions of people around the world that do not work in agriculture, this global shortage of fertilizer, we don't even think about it, right? It's a distant problem. It's not my problem. But in truth, it's going to leave no household unscathed. In even the least disruptive scenario, they're telling us soaring prices for synthetic nutrients will result in lower crop yields, higher grocery store prices for everything from milk to beef to packaged foods for months or potentially years to come across the developed world. That's the developed world. In developing economies already facing high levels of food insecurity, lower fertilizer use risks endangering malnutrition, political unrest, ultimately the otherwise avoidable loss of human life. All right, they spoke to a number of farmers around the world. One farmer in the Philippines, the rice-producing region, says, I'm reducing the use of fertilizer in this crop cycle. I cannot afford these stratospheric prices. About 12,000 miles away in Brazil, the soybean farmer facing those same choices. If fertilizers are expensive, we'll use less fertilizer. And if we use less, we will produce less. Food prices will increase. Everyone will suffer. Why are fertilizer prices going up like this, you might ask? Commercial farmers rely on a combination of three key ingredients: nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. That's what they put on the fields to fuel the harvest. Those inputs have always been key, but it was only about a century ago that humanity learned to manufacture mass-produced ammonia-based nutrients. The discovery of this method in the early 1900s, which is still used to make fertilizer today, has allowed farmers to vastly increase their yields. The agriculture industry has since come to depend on it, or even hinge on man-made fertilizer. Although the soil's needs differ from one region of the world to the other, the general trend is pretty undisputed. More fertilizer use brings more food production. But as the cost for these nutrients has skyrocketed, here in North America, one gauge of prices is nearly triple where it was at the start of the pandemic. Farmers have had to start paring back their use, and in some cases, dramatically. That has put us in uncharted territory. Fertilizer prices are up on an average 70% from last year. Fertilizer, what is available locally, now this is from a farmer in Kenya. It's out of reach, unpriceable for the majority of farmers. Worse, many farmers know they cannot recover these costs. Prices have been climbing for more than a year for a number of reasons. Runaway natural gas, the main feedstock for much of the world's nitrogen fertilizer, sanctions on a major Belarusian potash producer, back-to-back late summer storms along the U.S. Gulf Coast that temporarily shut in production in that region, plus the COVID restrictions that have disrupted every global supply chain, including chemicals. The tightening in the physical fertilizer market has galvanized China, which is the largest phosphate producer, to restrict outgoing shipments in order to build up a stockpile of their own, which is just going to exacerbate the global shortage. Then you add Russia and their invasion of Ukraine, which effectively cut off nearly 20% of the world's nutrient exports, and the fertilizer industry and their pricing mechanisms are broken now more than ever. Fertilizer sales are very, very low, to the point of desperately low. This should be traditionally the busiest time of year for the sale of fertilizer. How low? How will lower fertilizer use hit the output? The biggest concern is we end up with a very severe shortage of food in certain areas of the world. According to the chief executive of the world's largest nitrogen fertilizer company, CF Industry Holdings, in the Philippines, a key nitrogen fertilizer is now about 3,000 pesos, $57 per bag. And it's even more when it's transported to the fields. That's more than 3 times the price at this time just 1 year ago. Obviously, farmers will tend to decrease the use of fertilizer, and that's going to lessen production, forecasting a 10% drop in yields. Yes, it's rather sad, but this is the reality. Now, the yield outlook is even worse in other parts of the world. Peru's agriculture industry is facing a deficit of 180,000 metric tons of urea. Output staples, things like rice, potatoes, and corn, could tumble as much as 40% unless more fertilizer becomes available. That's crazy. You're approaching half of what you would otherwise produce. That translates, the International Rice Research Institute says crop yields could drop 10% in the next season, meaning there will be 36 million fewer tons of rice. That's enough to feed 500 million people. Yeah, food production could drop by about 30 million tons in 2022, equivalent to the food requirement of 100 million people. And that forecast was made before the war in Ukraine pushed prices to even new record levels this spring. Everything just kind of comes together at the same time. Talk about not having a good day. All right, our number 844-844-3388. See who we got on the line. Not seeing a name there.
Buckeye Hotshot.
Buckeye Hotshot, how you been?
Well, like anybody who's got a job in this day and age, busy as can be.
Okay, well, that sounds like a good thing.
Well, overall it is, unless you're like me and you're getting older and you're pushing retirement and thinking, okay, it's time to start cutting back now. And I would imagine, truthfully, probably as busy as I've ever been in the 40 plus years that I've been driving.
Wow.
And everybody I talk to out here is the same way, running as hard as you can, using every bit of your 14-hour day. Yeah, I got off the late start today, had to have some work done on the truck before we started the day, so we didn't actually get going until about 1 o'clock. So then I was a little bit surprised. I delivered a Whirlpool in Cleveland, Tennessee. I said, well, I couldn't find anything on Google reviews, whether you could park there at night. And the answer is no. But they're 24 hours a day, and I only had like 8 crates for them. And they said, oh, shoot, just back in the door. And I was unloaded, and I said, well, let's go ahead and get through Chattanooga tonight. So I'm at the Loves here by Nickajack Lake, and plenty of spaces. If anybody's going by, there are plenty of spaces in here, because I guess all the nighttime drivers have left. But anyway, this is one of those interesting things. I was going to comment in large part on what Warren Buffett said. And, I don't know very much about Bitcoin because I'm not into that part of the internet or whatever, wherever it is. And I just hearkened back to one of the common things Bruce Williams used to say on his radio show. Something is only worth what a willing buyer and a willing seller agree it's worth. Something's only worth what somebody else is willing to give you in exchange for it. And, for me, it's kind of difficult to grasp the concept that Bitcoin is basically created, within the past 4 or 5 years, something like that?
I think it's probably been more like 10 or 15, but yeah, it's just, time flies. But yeah, it's selling for, I haven't paid attention, 40, 50,000 a coin or something.
Yeah. And, it's huge. The people who were getting it back when you could get like 4 or 5 for $1 are just sitting so pretty right now. At this point in time, I think Warren Buffett may be wrong. I don't think it's going to hit 0 because you've got places that will accept it for payment now. Excuse me. And of course, you have the people who are gold standard, of the gold standard philosophy, who say, hey, paper money is only paper. I'd rather hold gold. But then you're holding gold. Will somebody give you food in exchange for gold? Or will somebody give you gasoline in exchange for gold? Well, if you don't have any use for gold, if things get as bad as it's sounding like they may be, I'm looking for cans of food to become the gold standard, because you can't eat gold, you can't eat money, but you can eat food.
That's kind of what Buffett was talking about. You can't eat Bitcoin.
Yeah. Yeah, and like we say, money and gold are only worth what somebody's willing to give you in exchange for it. And you can't heat your house with gold. You can now with paper money for a little bit, or at least start the fire. Can't start a fire with Bitcoin, but it all goes back to basic, simple capitalism. What is somebody willing to give you for your paper? And the way this current administration has got things so screwed up, your paper money, if you can only get 1 gallon of gas for a $5 bill versus 2 or 3, there comes a point in time when your money is probably going to be very low in value. And, our family's Mormon, so we keep a year's food supply. That's one of the tenets of the church. So if things get really, really bad, well, we should be in good shape for about 6 months to a year. But I look at all these folks that, go shopping every 2 or 3 days, like in New York City. There are a lot of folks that they go shopping almost every night to get their food to fix at home. Well, what happens, when diesel gets expensive enough, the trucks can't afford to deliver food anymore, especially with the tolls in New York City. What's the George Washington Bridge? $50 still? So, yeah, I mean, it's a good question. What are we going to do when things reach the point of absolute absurdity?
And it seems to be getting here a lot quicker than I think any of us anticipated.
Oh, yeah. Well, Rush Limbaugh used to say on his show, when the leftists got real control, things would change, and they change really fast. You wouldn't believe how quickly things are going. And it's like every other day, this administration is coming up with something out of thin air, completely out of left field, like their Ministry of Truth thing that he's floated. I don't know if he's actually got the idea that they're going to actually try it, or if he was just throwing it out there to see what the reaction would be. And it's been pretty bad. But, they're throwing crap at us that we never thought we'd see.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, whoever thought you would see them try to completely eradicate the oil industry in just 1 or 2 years?
Boom.
I mean, this is all man-made. This is all Biden's fault.
The prices we're paying. Yep. And, but this administration continues to say this is Putin's fault. This is Putin's prices.
Well, Putin hasn't helped anything, that's for sure. Because basically we've knocked out a huge chunk of our oil and natural gas production and coal. And then when you start embargoing Putin's stuff, which I guess right now he's just turning coal the other direction and sending it to China. But yeah, you knock out 2 major oil producers in a matter of basically a year and a half. Yeah, what do you think's going to happen to your gas and diesel fuel? And I mean, there isn't anybody who's got a brain in their head that didn't see this coming the very first day he was in office. I mean, we all knew, those of us who are informed and paying attention, we understood this was going to happen.
So
I didn't think it would hit as many things this fast.
How does he still have a 40% approval rating, right? He's right around 40%. So 4 in 10 people think he's doing okay. He's doing fine.
Well, I, for one, don't think that they're actually either. Well, I know one of the little tricks they do, Steve, is they'll do a poll until they get the results they want. I wouldn't be surprised if let's say they did 5 polls, and then 4 of them, 90% of the people said this is a total screw up. But the 5th poll, let's say they did it in Washington, D.C., and maybe they got 4 out of 10 people there.
Okay.
I haven't met anybody who would admit that they voted for him, let alone like him. And let's face it, Joe Biden was never very bright in the first place, and he's never really been a nice guy. He's always, from what I've heard over the years, he's actually a pretty nasty little runt in private life. And you add senility to that, and you just get one miserable SOB to deal with. But of course, I don't think he's in charge. There are a lot of folks that think Susan Rice is actually calling the shots now.
Okay. I was gonna say, who's your pick on? Who's wearing the Easter Bunny outfit?
Well, I guess it wasn't Jill, because I think you could see her in the same picture. But yeah, it's. I've had warned a couple of folks in chats on the CB or the 2-meter radio, and folks are wondering who the heck is running this country, because nothing has gone right. If this was purely an accident, sooner or later there'd have been something that would have gone right for the American people. But yeah, everything has gone as badly as it could. I don't see any other way to look at it.
Yeah. Let's go, Brandon.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping he goes into the night very quickly, but the pain in the butt, of course, is you look at who number 2 and number 3 are, and we won't be any better off with either of them. Chuck Schumer, at least, I think he's not senile or stupid. Sometimes he sounds stupid, but, and that's the whole thing about it. I'm hoping, just between you and me, I know it would be a gutsy move, but if the Republicans do take both the House and the Senate, I think using the 25th Amendment on Joe, impeaching Kamala next would be nice, and then ask Donald Trump, install him as the Speaker of the House, so once you get rid of Joe and Kamala, Donald Trump steps into the presidency, and we get them out. I mean, it would be perfectly constitutional, and frankly, given the crap that Democrats have pulled on Republicans and everybody else the past roughly 12 years, I think it'd also be entirely warranted. But I think, who's the guy, McCarthy, I think he really wants to be Speaker. I don't think he would step aside and let President Trump be Speaker of the House just to get him into the presidency again. But, if President Trump worked out a deal with him where, okay, you become Speaker as soon as I go back to the White House, then I would love to see them do that. But to be honest with you, I really wanted to see President Trump prosecute Biden, wait until late in December and say, oh, by the way, Joe, we're going to try you on these felonies, so you're never going to see the inside of the White House because you're going to be in prison. But, let's face it, Republicans aren't as nasty as Democrats, and they probably wouldn't do that anyway. But I was thinking, God, wouldn't it have been great if we'd at least done something like that. Mm-hmm. And of course, you've heard about 2,000 Mules by Dinesh D'Souza.
Yes, that's just a few days away, right? Is it May 7th, 8th, something like that? It comes out.
I'm thinking so. He was talking to Hugh Hewitt about that a couple of days ago on his show. And he said, there's no doubt about it. This was a coordinated effort to steal the election. And they succeeded because there isn't really any mechanism to force the courts or anybody else to get on it. But I think that will be one of the first things that President Trump will insist is handled, that we have a way to prosecute these sort of things in a timely manner and, straighten up our elections. Like me personally, I've said many a time, I'd like to see Ohio go to a 2-year residency requirement before you can vote, so that we've got time enough to make sure that you actually live here and you actually work here and are entitled to vote in Ohio. And besides, it gives you 2 years to get used to how we do things in Ohio. And by the way, Utah will immediately outlaw abortion. The church will, no doubt, that'll be the day after the Supreme Court, if they do basically reverse Roe versus Wade. Yeah, the very next day, Utah will introduce legislation to outlaw abortion, because that is a true abomination to the church. They've been very quiet on it for a few years there, but yeah, as soon as that changes, Utah will immediately move to get rid of it. And I suppose some of the other Mormon states like Idaho and Arizona might too, possibly Wyoming. We'll just have to see.
Yeah, time will tell. But yeah, it's interesting times in which we live, Buckeye Hotshot. Well, thanks so much for checking in. Great to hear from you. It's been a while. Check in a little more often. It is 844-3388, the Steve Sommers Overnight Drive.
USA Radio News with Kenneth Burns.
Russia's 10-week invasion of Ukraine has cost the lives of 3,000 civilians. USA Radio's Tim Burke leads off this hour.
The United Nations made that announcement Monday, but the Office of the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights believes the actual number is much higher. Their figure shows at least another 3,000 have been hurt in the fighting. The UN specifically mentioned multiple regions, including Mariupol, are places where there are allegations of numerous civilian casualties. From the USA Radio News Phoenix Bureau, I'm Tim Berg.
Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer joining the chorus of condemnation against remarks made by Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov on Italian television, claiming falsely that Hitler was Jewish.
Mr. Lavrov's comments are just sickening and deserve to be condemned by all who oppose the dangers of anti-Semitism.
This is USA Radio News.
Hello, neighbor. Pat Boone here. You know, they say every dark cloud has a silver lining, right? Well, today I'm going to prove it. Rising political and economic uncertainty is increasing market volatility. This flight to safety is pushing up gold and silver prices like never before. So, to help protect listeners, Swiss America has a very special offer. Historic silver Walking Liberty $half at the amazingly low price of just
$12.50 each delivered.
That's right.
$12.50 each delivered.
While supplies last. Call 800-289-2646 now, which spells 800 BUYCOIN, buy coin. Put a silver lining in your portfolio now. Call 800-289-2646 or online at SwissAmerica.com, 800-289-2646, and you can tell them Pat Boone gave you the number.
You're listening to the Overnight Drive with Steve Sommers.
Do you have a Dodge pickup and hate your automatic transmission? Of course you do. Levon Miller at Firepunk Diesel here, and we specialize in heavy-duty and performance transmissions for your 3/4 or 1-ton Cummins-powered truck. So if you're interested in turning your stock slush box into a towing monster, call us today at 614-733-3744 or visit us online at shop.firepunk.com.
After a long winter road trip, there's nothing like coming home to a warm, comfortable home. Hi, I'm Steve with USA Insulation. We appreciate our truckers and the long hours you're putting in to serve us all. Without you, we wouldn't even get the materials to insulate. So we want you to feel like a king when you get back. We put our foam in your walls. It's like putting a coat around your entire home. Keeps the cold air out and the warm air in. And with the rising energy costs, that's going to save you a bundle. We're getting homes ready for winter right now, and we have $1,000 of savings for everyone. But because we love our truckers, we're going to give you an additional $250 discount just for mentioning this show. So give us a call, 1-800-USA-FOAM. That's 1-800-USA-FOAM or usainsulation.net. We're going to give you an additional $250 discount for mentioning the show, 1-800-USA-FOAM or usainsulation.net.
USA Insulation.
It's coming. Crisp fall mornings turn bitter cold. You climb into your diesel and it feels like you're sitting on an ice cube. Imagine how your engine feels after a frosty night. Freezing temperatures impact your diesel's fluids, especially fuel. As the temperatures drop, water that is emulsified within your fuel is released, adding more water into your system. Frozen water in your fuel lines, filter, or bowl will simply slow the flow, or worse, stop the flow of fuel in your system. No fuel flow, no start. Get prepared now for the cold that is coming. Hot Shot Secret Diesel Winter Anti-Gel is a premium fuel additive that lowers your fuel's pour point to minus 65 degrees. If it's that cold out, you shouldn't be on the road. You ought to be at home in front of the fireplace. Hot Shot Secret Diesel Winter Anti-Gel Premium Fuel Additive. Available now online at hotshotsecret.com. Hot Shot Secret. Powered by science.
Dean Michael, the tax doctor here. I have one question for you. Do you want to stop worrying about the IRS? If the answer is yes, then look no further. I've been around for years, I've helped countless people across the country, and my success rate speaks for itself. So now you know where to find good, honest help with your tax problems. What are you waiting for? If you owe more than $10,000 to the IRS or haven't filed in years, call me now at 888-557-4020 or go to mytaxhelpmd.com for a free consultation and get your life back.
Hi, we're the Goo Goo Dolls. We're fortunate that we can give our daughters everything they need to grow and learn. But not every child can focus on classes and play dates.
Nearly 13 million kids in the U.S. face hunger. That's 1 in 6. School lunch might be their only meal each day, and it's heartbreaking to imagine any child going to bed hungry. We're dreaming of a perfect day when kids can smile, play, and just be kids without worrying about where their next meal will come from. Feeding America is working to make that perfect day a reality.
Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste. That food is given to families and children in need. Being a kid should be about doing things that make an ordinary day extraordinary. Learning to play an instrument, building a sandcastle, hosting tea parties. Hunger should never be an obstacle to growing up.
You can help end childhood hunger in your community by visiting feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Keep the bugs off your glass and the smokies off your ass. This is the Overnight Drive with Steve Sommers.
All right, back at it here, and back to your calls at 844-844-3388. Plenty of room for you. Philip on board, I believe it is. Hey there, Philip, what's going on?
Not much, bud. How you doing? Your new system working out for you?
Yeah, I think it's doing all right.
Hey, I noticed on that 3 o'clock when you queued up Big Moose, I think one of the other pieces that you got on that system came in the middle of the song.
As in, like some sort of audio or what?
Well, I know that Moose had told me that they had recorded some other stuff for your show, promo stuff and buffer stuff. I think when in the middle of that song, something else queued up in that system.
Well, technically, I haven't got anything else from him yet, but all I've got's the actual download. But yeah, I know he said that they had done like an instrumental version, so we could start using that instead of just the same bumper we always use.
Yeah, it was like when he got to one part of the song there, it like on my at least I heard it on my end. It was like some kind of bumper. Something else keyed in just for a second, and then it keyed out. So I don't know, but I just thought I'd mention it to you. I think a lot of the problems we're seeing now, Steve, is, believe it or not, is technology. It's funny you were talking about how much something simple as fertilizer could cause all this mayhem, but you look at the technology that we have now and people have got the access to. It influences a lot of things like elections and different things. What do you think?
Absolutely, yes. Speaking of modern technology, so the phones went down briefly there, and apparently, like with the new setup, I did at that point I got a couple of emails or whatever. Pappy and several others said that I guess the audio via the Facebook and YouTube went down with that. I didn't realize anything would have changed with that, but. So I guess we're on a learning curve, I guess. And now the email's down. Email's not working. If anybody's trying to send me emails, email won't open up. So
Yeah, I mean, that's what's crazy about the world. Think about this, Steve. We got 2 facilities here in Florida that make semiconductor chips for the space program and for the military. Why couldn't we get those folks to be making chips for automobiles and trucks?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, just crazy stuff like that. And the commodities, a lot of people don't watch commodities and stocks. All they watch is like Microsoft and big companies like Disney and things like that. Nobody ever pays attention to the commodity market. But that's actually the commodity market, is what makes the world revolve. I mean, you think about oil and corn and wheat and all this stuff. I mean, a lot of people don't pay attention to that. And I think we need to pay attention to that. Do you think today's youth could handle a day without a telephone?
They would go bat crap crazy.
I really don't think today's generation would handle it without a phone. I mean, that gentleman was talking about the Mormons and, storing food and all that kind of stuff. I really don't think today's generation or the way everybody is today in general. I mean, you think about how many people sit at home and use Walmart Plus to bring their stuff to their house for them instead of going to the store and getting it themselves.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
You know, people that have they've left their smartphone at home and they've already left and they're halfway to the store or the bank, wherever they're going, and they'll actually turn around and go back because they can't go without that phone. Say, what the hell? You're going to be gone for an hour and you can't be without it?
Yep. I mean, I was fortunate enough. I grew up in a time when we didn't have the phone when I grew up, and got into my, from my teens into my adult era. They didn't have phones, which was nice. I mean, the only phone we had was landline, but you couldn't take the landline everywhere you went. But, today's youth, I think they just rely so much on technology. And you think about all the things that technology influences. Elections, like look at the past election. You look how many people were on the internet researching Joe Biden and voting for him over what was going on with Trump. And that's just an example. There's a lot of things, and the media throws it out there on social media and regular media. If something gets thrown out, then it influences things happening. And a lot of people just don't realize it. Influences markets. You look at Bitcoin. The gentleman was talking earlier about trading. Yeah. Can you imagine, Steve, us going back to back in the, the 1800s when we had to trade with something like gold? Nowadays, people couldn't do it.
Right.
People couldn't survive without this technology, everything around us, so. But that's my take for the day. I hope y'all have a good one, and you get that system together. It just takes time. Catch you later, bro.
One day at a time. That's what they say. It's about 17 before the hour. And what are we looking at? Major League Baseball. Okay, we touched on the Reds earlier. I know, but that's one team. 3-19 on the season now. Last check. But it looks like Major League Baseball as a whole. The headline reads, "Baseball strikes out in ratings while trying to draw the woke." Haven't we been saying, you go woke, you go broke? Story says, Major League Baseball has been unable to capture an audience of 300,000 viewers over the past 2 weeks, according to Sports Media Watch. According to the site, the Brewers versus Phillies game last weekend on ESPN Sunday Night Baseball averaged a .7 rating, 1.11 million viewers. Now, that was almost half the viewership the same weekend last year when the Padres played the Dodgers on ESPN and ESPN2, drawing 2.01 million sets of eyeballs. ESPN's regular season coverage is now almost all Sunday night games, and no other games in the 2-week time span hit 300,000 viewers. Only ESPN's Virginia Tech Tennessee College softball game on April 21st was able to surpass that number, where they garnered 343,000. It aired in the time slot that once hosted Major League Baseball's Wednesday Night Baseball. On other channels, FS1 got a .12 rating, 202,000 viewers for a White Sox-Twins game last weekend. Turner Broadcasting Systems, TBS, saw 206,000 and 234,000 televisions tuned in to 2 Tuesday night games. The Braves-Dodgers met 2 weeks ago, the Mets-Cardinals this past week. Now, that was actually an improvement over the season premiere, which was the Padres versus the Giants game with an abysmal 173,000 viewers. The rough start to the 2022 season, right on the heels of the woke league's terrible 2021 ratings. According to Breitbart's Warner Houston, last year's All-Star game, for instance, earned its second lowest ratings of all time. Of course, that after the game was moved from Atlanta to Denver, and also moved the Major League Baseball draft out of Georgia after the state passed the new voting laws, which, of course, the Democrats say is racist. All right, you go woke, you go broke, but those are horrible numbers for Major League Baseball. And we've got plenty of room for you. It's 844-844-3388. The Steve Sommers Overnight Drive, live from the Hot Shot Secret Studios.
Live from the Hot Shot Secret Studios, the Steve Sommers Overnight Drive.
You work hard. You deserve a seat that works just as hard as you do. The Bostrom T-Series seat has provided drivers with comfort for millions of miles over the past 3 decades. Each seat is built right here in the USA and has 4-position front cushion tilt and higher low-profile air suspension with isolator. It's also equipped with many standard and optional comfort features, such as high and mid backrests, 9.4-inch fore-aft slide adjustment, adjustable armrests, and manual or dual air lumbar support systems to keep you comfortable throughout your ride. Build your T-Series seat today at BostromSeating.com and ensure your ultimate comfort for wherever the road takes you. Bostrom Seating, the ultimate comfort for the open road.
After a long winter road trip, there's nothing like coming home to a warm, comfortable home. Hi, I'm Steve with USA Insulation. When we put our foam in your walls, it's like putting a coat around your entire home. It keeps the cold air out and the warm air in. We're getting homes ready right now for winter, and we have $1,000 savings for everyone. But because we love our truckers, we're going to give you an additional $250 discount for mentioning the show. 1-800-USA-FOAM or USAinsulation.net.
My mother was always very active and independent, and she was familiar with her neighborhood. But one day, she stopped at the stop sign for much longer than usual. She wasn't even really sure where she was at.
It's important for you to talk to someone about it. I felt so much better after my son told me, Mom, we'll figure it out.
When something feels different, it could be Alzheimer's. Now is the time to talk. Visit alz.org/ourstories to learn more. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Because Channel 19's a little congested. Call Steve now at 844-844-3388. The Overnight Drive.
Yeah, meanwhile, the entire world pretty much just sits back. And I think to myself, Vladimir Putin, what are you doing? What have you done? And why? I understand. I mean, this whole zeal to have, he wants his Soviet Union back. But it's not going to happen. It is not going to happen. Meanwhile, he has literally decimated his entire country's economy. Yeah, kind of like Joe Biden is incrementally trying to do to our economy. Yeah, for what? Just destroy everything, and not only his country, but on a global scale. With talking about the whole food crisis, a representative from the UN World Food Program says that Russia is currently blocking close to 4.5 million tons in grain exports from Ukraine. The abrupt stoppage could initiate a global food crisis, and they're working to allow this supply to go forward. Foodstuffs have to reach those in Ukraine who are trapped and in need. But at the same time, there's the need to provide other parts of the world with foodstuffs that they're expecting from Ukraine to alleviate a global food crisis. Now, he says, right now we have to concern ourselves with the fact that there are some people who will starve. There are some countries that will be unable to afford grain for their people. And this whole war situation could lead to a global hunger crisis. As we've all discovered since the Russian invasion, which most of us, including myself, had no idea at the time, just how much foodstuff comes from the likes of Ukraine. Ukraine and Russia combined have grown roughly 30% of the world's wheat exports and 20% of corn exports over the past 3 years. Driven by soaring wheat and coarse grain prices, largely as a result of the war in Ukraine, the FAO Cereal Price Index, 17.1% higher in March than it was just the month before. They also connected a 23% increase in the price of vegetable oil, of course, which Ukraine is the largest exporter. It's the sunflower oil, right? Food prices are skyrocketing around the world. Low and middle income countries are being choked off of Ukrainian exports. Chevy Guy, I believe, is back with us there. What do you say, Chevy Guy?
Yeah, given that, a little bit of the, roll that around in your brain. When I take a bite of steak, I don't gobble it up and swallow it down. And sometimes I just enjoy it. It's a running gag in my family when my son comes in and cookout, we're all at the table. Well, by the time I get done with my steak, they done cleaned the table off, and I'm still sitting there enjoying my steak. So on this office of this information, I'm running this through my head. I don't know if it's real. Give it a think. What if Donald Trump had that tool? It's along with Donald Trump, let's say Jim Jordan decides, he's going to move out of that, God forbid, of Ohio, that office. And you have Jim Jordan running that office of information or disinformation or whatever. Can you imagine what it would do? So do you really think this is a sincere, but obviously it's unconstitutional.
Right.
But do you really think this is sincere, or it's just a distraction for what's going on?
Well, I think undoubtedly the Democrats want it. They want to censor. They want to censor and shut down any conservative or right-leaning discussion. They want it to be a one-way street. Now, if you turn the tables via an election, and Trump becomes president or DeSantis becomes president, no, that's a whole different ballgame. We got to shut that down. It's not constitutional.
Absolutely. And then here's the other thing. Let's say they do get this. how long will it be until they all of a sudden, they use some teeth? Give this office some teeth. I'll use the example of Santa Claus, his call. He, as a civilian, he participated in a political issue, but to work where he works, he cannot publicly, because the government, curtails his freedom. Well, what if that Office of Information says, well, all right, go after the people's bank accounts like they did in Canada? I mean, I'm just I'm rolling this steak around in my mouth and trying to think what all they could do with this. They must, if they're sincere, they really must think they got the next election in the bag, and it's very worrisome. But Lord, because anything they disagreed in Canada. They went after their bank accounts. They locked everybody down. Lord, if you've got loans, they can come at you through the banks you're at. Shut your businesses down or get you fired from a business if your business operates or has anything to do with the government. So I'm thinking, you just roll this around. It's a very scary thing. And obviously, they can't possibly believe that the Republicans are going to take control, or they would not even think about putting something this destructive in there. But then again, they're Democrats. Doesn't mean they're smart.
Well, surely no one in their right mind would ever contemplate leaving our southern border wide open. How is that possible? Who would do such a thing? Well, there's this guy called Alejandro Mayorkas. He's the same guy that's putting together this Office of Disinformation. So, yeah, he would do it.
Oh, it's a train wreck. Yes, I've seen him. And, his voice just grates on you. Just listening to him talk. Oh, yeah, we got the border in control. Somebody yell out, please. What about the 2 million people that just walked across the border? It is. We are living in a clown show, an absolute clown show. And I just, Lord have mercy. Other than that, we're going to sit back and copy the rest of the mail. We're enjoying the show, but you can talk all night. I enjoy it.
They have Mayorkas on the stand there testifying before a congressional committee. And pressing the question, there's 1.7 million people that are wandering around in this country right now that the judge has seen the request for amnesty or whatever, and they've received their actual final order, their revocation to be expelled back to their home country. In other words, they're denied. 1.7 million, that the total process it's run the gamut. They've been ordered out of the country. When are you going to expel these people, Mayorkas? He doesn't have any answers to those because he doesn't have any intention of expelling them, even after. So, yes, they came across the border. They allowed them into the heart of the country, wherever they wanted to go. And you've got your court date. Here's your hearing date. Well, the court date has come and gone. They've received their expulsion order, and he still won't expel them. He won't kick them out of the country. His answer is, well, I think we need to fix the broken immigration system. It's like this guy don't get it. Hello, Mayorkas, you have a job. There are laws on the books. There are Congress has already set these laws in place. It's not your job to sit back and say, well, Congress needs to fix the laws. The laws are there right now. Do your damn job. How this guy still has a job, I don't know. Oh, wait a minute. Yes, I do. It's because the Democrats are in charge. That's the only reason he's got a job. Maybe that'll change in November. November, please hurry. Our number, 844-844-3388. The Steve Sommers Overnight Drive.
USA Radio News with Kenneth Burns.
It didn't take long for Russia to resume its bombardment of Mariupol after more than 100 people that were hiding beneath the steel plant left in buses to Ukrainian-controlled territory. Mariupol's deputy mayor Sergei Orlov tells the PBS NewsHour that thousands of civilians remain trapped in the besieged city.
130,000 citizens that are still in Mariupol, all of them are hostages.
Previous attempts to open safe corridors out of the southern port city and other places have broken down. Ukrainian officials accuse Russian forces of shooting and shelling along the agreed-upon evacuation routes. An Oklahoma judge is allowing a lawsuit seeking reparations for the survivors and descendants of the victims in the 1921 Tulsa Race Massacre to proceed. The suit was filed in 2020 under the state's public nuisance law. A late rally boosted the indexes on Wall Street. This is USA Radio News.
What life insurance policy is right for you? Ethos Life makes it so easy. It's all online. You go to ethosliferadio.com. That's ethosliferadio.com. Click Get My Quote. It will take you to a cool online calculator where it will estimate the coverage and monthly cost. Then you can play around with the slider. Change the amount of coverage and cost so you get what's right for you. And when you are ready, just click Apply. Answer a few questions, and that's it. No doctors, no medical exams, no blood tests. It takes about 10 minutes. It's easy, risk-free. It's one of the best things to do for your family's future. You are in control, and you get the price that's right for you. Right now. The best rates are available through this exclusive radio offer. Go to ethosliferadio.com. That's ethosliferadio.com. ethosliferadio.com. Go get your quote now.
Former President Donald Trump is under investigation, this time in Georgia, over actions during the 2020 presidential election.
Potential grand jurors in Atlanta, Georgia, arrived at a downtown courthouse Monday as part of a county prosecutor's investigation to see if President Trump and others tried to overturn Georgia's 2020 election results. After 90 minutes, a grand jury was seated and will proceed to gather evidence. Fulton County District Attorney Democrat Fannie Willis is overseeing the investigation. From the West Coast USA Radio News Bureau, I'm Lance Pry.
Almost two-thirds of workers at an Amazon warehouse on Staten Island in New York rejected a union bid. The Amazon labor union is weighing whether or not to challenge the results. It scored a surprising victory at a nearby facility. Officials in Connecticut launching a new state program to help families and residents who had financial hardships due to the pandemic. The new My Home CT initiative will provide grant assistance to homeowners who need help covering housing costs. You're listening to USA Radio News.
Hi, this is Dr. Joel Wallach, and I want to tell you that arthritis is not a genetic thing. It's not a disease of aging. Neither is osteoporosis. Get a hold of my book. It's all in your head. It goes into the 25 different diseases you get when you have osteoporosis of the skull. These are all reversible. You take the Healthy Bone and Joint Pack, the MSM, vitamin D3, stay away from all the bad foods, including gluten, and guess what? You'll regrow all your bones, including your skull and your legs and your hips and everything else. Contact us at usaradiohealth.com. That's usaradiohealth.com.
The European Union is stepping up its antitrust case against Apple, the nation bloc accusing the tech company of abusing its dominant position by limiting access to technologies allowing contactless payment. An EU official says Apple has built a closed ecosystem around its devices and that the company has shielded its Apple Pay system from competition. Apple in a statement said it will continue to engage with the Commission and ensure that European customers have access to the payment option of their choice in a safe and secure environment. A city in North Texas is getting in on the cutting edge.
Fort Worth, Texas becomes the first city in the United States to mine Bitcoin. Fort Worth Mayor Maddie Parker joining Fox Business to talk about why Fort Worth is making the move.
I think the number one goal for the city of Fort Worth is to make sure we're known as synonymous with tech and innovation, understand what the future of cryptocurrency is. This conversation is happening with major organizations across the world, and Fort Worth wanted to be a part of the conversation, and we really gained that in the last week.
She says the 3 machines that do the mining were donated by the Texas Blockchain Council and will be running 24/7 for the next 6 months. From the USA Radio News Phoenix Bureau, I'm Tim Berg.
Wall Street closed in positive territory. The Dow rose 84 points. The Nasdaq gained 201 points. The S&P 500 added 23. For USA Radio News, I'm Kenneth Burns in New York.
At Hotshot Secret, we share the science behind common diesel problems. For example,
Stiction.
Found throughout the oil system, stiction is the sticky friction that negatively impacts your engine's ability to function at an optimal level. The molecular structure of oil is a hydrocarbon. The engine's extreme heat, tight tolerances, and high pressure cause the oil to break down and release hydrogen, leaving behind varnish, a carbon-based deposit. The varnish clings to the engine's moving parts, creating drag on the turbocharger, oil pump, and pistons. Symptoms of stiction include a rough idle and the loss of fuel economy and performance. Hotshot Secret Stiction Eliminator delivers a 98% clean rating in third-party scrub tests. Its synthetic cleaner plus nano lubricant contains no harmful solvents and is formulated to be left in the engine to safely dissolve stiction for thousands of miles. It works as you drive.
Stiction Eliminator is available at truck stops, Tractor Supply, O'Reilly's Auto Parts, and online at HotShotSecret.com. Hotshot Secret. Powered by science.
Okay, get our final hour underway here. One more time around. Got a full hour yet to fill, though. Plenty of room for you at 844-844-3388. How about a keyword? Are you ready? Your chance to win $1,000 cash and a shot at the $10,000 grand prize. Head on over to tncradio.live on the web, tncradio.live app on your smartphone, Android, iPhone. Enter the keyword FAST. I'm sorry. I'm on Mondays. It's beach. I apologize. Beach. I'd rather be lying on a beach right about now. BEACH. Scratch off that Monday code word. There you go. So if you missed our first hour, bills. Pay the bills. Got a bonus keyword last hour, fly. F-L-Y. In this hour, we got beach. So you could technically go enter 3 separate keywords and have 3 separate entries and a shot at the next day's $1,000 daily cash bonus. I got a message from Joe when we were talking about, I think a Buckeye Hotshot broke up that Utah, if indeed the Supreme Court comes out and indeed overturns Roe versus Wade, and pretty much said the next day Utah would be one of those that would outlaw or ban abortions. Joe said, I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, known as Mormon. There are a few stipulations in abortion within the church, aka rape, incest, or where the mother or child will be in extreme danger. Of course, the church is big on adoption procedures and looking for other alternatives, obviously. So I guess you're saying, as far as an outright ban, they will probably still have some exceptions when it comes to abortion. And as I said, that's going to be the case, from one state to the next. The laws will be different, from one state border to the next. Living as close as I do, it's called the tri-state region, Ohio, Indiana, Kentucky, all kind of joined together within a matter of inside the I-275 loop, which crosses into all 3 states. You'd have 3 different sets of rules in all likelihood here in a few years. How long it takes for these things to actually change once the Supreme Court makes their ruling. I guess most states are going to have to jump right on it and get things clarified for their particular state. Correct? We were talking to Red Mule last evening on the program, early in the program, about the water level. Lake Mead continues to drop and drop. And we were talking last evening how one of the actual intake valves that would take water from Lake Mead, supplying the millions of residents, including the likes of Las Vegas, that rely on that lake for water. The original intake valve from 1971 is now exposed. It's above the water line. It's not taking any water in. Can't. Something else interesting as the water levels continue to drop. They found a barrel Sunday. Inside the barrel was a body at Lake Mead. They believe it's been underwater for as long as 40 years. And authorities say it's likely that more barrels or bodies will continue to appear as the lake recedes. How wild is that? According to the Las Vegas Metro Police homicide, Ray Spencer, this tells the I-Team, police suspect the person was killed in the 1980s based on some of the personal items that were found inside that barrel. He did not elaborate on the cause of death or the items that were found in the barrel. It's an ongoing investigation, he says. There was a photo shared with the I-Team that showed what looked like skeletal remains in the barrel. The barrel appeared to have been stuck in the mud. Apparently, some boaters actually discovered the barrel, a.k.a. the body, about 3 o'clock Sunday afternoon. They gave some more details on Monday. They said, we heard a woman scream from the side of the beach, and then my husband went over to obviously see what was wrong. Then he realized there was a body there in a barrel. Police believe the barrel was fully intact when it was dropped into the lake. But this is going to take an extensive amount of work as far as identifying the victim. Adding that the team has reached out to the UNLV to examine growth on the barrel, trying to, I guess, how long it's been there, trying to determine when it may have started to erode. It's going to be a very difficult case, but I'd say there's a very good chance as the water levels continue to drop, we will find additional human remains there in the bottom of the lake. I guess that's the deal where what? They put the body in the barrel, put a little cement in there and sink her to the bottom. Possibly been there for 40 years. All right, back to the calls. Pup is on the line. What do you say, Pup?
Oh, not much. How you doing, Steve?
Hang in with him.
All right, that's a good deal. Hey, has anybody brought it to your attention that on the Android app, your bumper music keeps interrupting people talking?
Several people have said it's for whatever. The app has been kind of skipping in and out. It hadn't done that in quite some time. I have no idea what the deal would be.
Yeah, it's been a very long time. But now, with that rain that we've got over the weekend and stuff, and the rain that they're predicting, it'll be late May before anything's done in the fields around home there. We got just shy of 2 inches of rain Saturday night, and they're predicting another inch tonight. So, and without the sun and warm temperatures we need, it ain't doing very good anyway.
So how far behind are the fields getting right now?
Under normal circumstances, probably should have been in the field at least the third week of April.
Well, and you're saying it may be the end of May now, so it'd be a full month behind?
Yeah.
Wow.
Be a full month behind. Got some corn planted Friday, but it's a crapshoot. The temperatures next week are supposed to be in the 70s, mid-70s, so that'll help us out. No, I just wanted to bring that to your attention on that. And the fertilizer prices are triple than what they usually are. So a lot of guys are relying on chicken and whole cow manure right now.
So, I mean, I guess if we talked about with the fertilizer prices, farming's a different game, right? I mean, so the farmer, if they want to fertilize like they normally would, it's going to cost them 3 times as much as it would have said a year ago, but they won't per se be guaranteed to get the return on that investment because it all depends on what the going price of crops is come harvest time, right?
Right. Yep. Yeah, the farmer doesn't set his price. The commodity market does. So, but right now everything's expensive now, and with the input prices being higher, then I'm just afraid that next year it's even going to be worse. So,
wow.
Yeah. Probably ought to stock up a little bit here and there. Matter plant your own little garden can this year. No, that's all I had for you. I didn't know if you were aware of that Android thing or not.
Yeah, I guess several. Like I said, the email's not working, so I'm sure some people have tried to email. But I saw on the restream chat rather, some people have been saying kind of skipping. Melody mentioned that earlier, cutting in and out. Yeah, let's see who else we got checking in while we're at it. Perfect stranger on board. Hey there, 46, a little light rain in southwest New Hampshire. Morning to Steve and all the overnight drive cartoon characters out there. All right, good to have you with us. Gary, got 60 degrees, a little bit of rain here in southwest Ohio. Yeah, we had some very light rain outside the bunker a little bit ago. Yeah, looking at the radar, though, there's more rain coming in. Plenty of rain stretching from, say, just south of Indianapolis all the way down almost into Bowling Green, Kentucky. That's one leading edge of showers and maybe even a few rumbles of thunder. And then there's a break in the action, the main line stretching back through central portions of Illinois, down through southeastern Missouri, and on down into Arkansas. The rains from about Jonesboro to Pine Bluff. Some of those still packing a punch. We've seen a lot of severe thunderstorm warnings this morning. Rains extending all the way back down into the Dallas, Texas area. All right, we got clear lines at 844-844-3388. We'll return into...
Live from the Hot Shot Secret Studios, the Steve Sommers Overnight Drive.
Dean Michael, the tax doctor here. Are you one of those truck drivers that came home after a long haul and found the only thing waiting for you was a stack of IRS letters? Your significant other was gone, but your newfound IRS problem is still there. I've heard this story many times over the years. While I can't help you with your broken heart, I can fix your tax problems. If you owe more than $10,000 to the IRS or haven't filed for many years, call me for a free consultation at 888-557-4020 or go to mytaxhelpmd.com. Like I always say, you keep your eyes on the road, I'll keep mine on the IRS.
145 over 92.
180 over 111.
I had a heart attack and a cardiac arrest, and then a stroke.
Your blood pressure numbers could change your life. Lowering your high blood pressure could save you from a heart attack or stroke. If you've stopped your treatment plan, restart it, or talk to your doctor about creating one that works better for you. Start taking the right steps at manageyourbp.org.
Now I'm, trying to get better, stronger than ever.
Brought to you by the American Heart Association, American Medical Association, and the Ad Council.
At Hot Shot Secret, we share the science behind common diesel problems. For example,
stiction.
Found throughout the oil system, stiction is the sticky friction that negatively impacts your engine's ability to function at an optimal level. The molecular structure of oil is a hydrocarbon. The engine's extreme heat, tight tolerances, and high pressure cause the oil to break down and release hydrogen, leaving behind varnish, a carbon-based deposit. The varnish clings to the engine's moving parts, creating drag on the turbocharger, oil pump, and pistons. Symptoms of stiction include a rough idle and the loss of fuel economy and performance. Hot Shot Secret Stiction Eliminator delivers a 98% clean rating in third-party scrub tests. Its synthetic cleaner plus nano lubricant contains no harmful solvents and is formulated to be left in the engine to safely dissolve stiction for thousands of miles. It works as you drive.
Stiction Eliminator is available at truck stops, Tractor Supply, O'Reilly's Auto Parts, and online at HotShotSecret.com. Hot Shot Secret. Powered by science.
Because Channel 19's a little congested. Call Steve now at 844-844-3388. The Overnight Drive.
So I'm looking at the report, and the reporter who broke the story about the draft opinion signaling that the Supreme Court is ready to overturn Roe versus Wade wasted no time. Everybody, I guess, everyone in the media say, hey, we want to talk to you. He was on TV within minutes discussing the monumental leak this past evening. Josh Gerstein, a senior legal affairs reporter for Politico, says he is confident in his sourcing and the authenticity of the document for the report. He shared a byline with national security reporter Alexander Ward. See, some people, I've even seen on our stream chat, some people saying, is this, can you authenticate? How do we know Justice Alito actually even wrote this? Timing is everything. Isn't it odd that timing-wise, it was leaked the evening before the primary election? Is this all designed to stir up the left so they'll get out and vote? I don't know. But Gerstein says we're very confident in the authenticity of this draft majority opinion, both in the way we obtained it and other information that we got that supports the authenticity and makes us believe it is genuine. It is not a final opinion. It was a draft opinion circulated in the court as a first draft, again, by Justice Alito. You've got Justice Clarence Thomas, Neil Gorsuch, Brett Kavanaugh, Amy Coney Barrett, that all apparently voted with Alito to overturn the ruling, according to the report, citing someone who's familiar with the court's deliberation. Meanwhile, Justices Stephen Breyer, Sonia Sotomayor, Elena Kagan, all appointed during Democrat administrations, obviously dissented. Apparently, Chief Justice John Roberts has not yet voted. The votes remain the same, according to the source. But Gerstein said he believes the source and who voted with Alito because he could hear the echoes of the other justices in that report. Now look over at some of the other headlines. I mean, that's the big breaking story. Already, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer. Headline reads, "Slam, one of the worst decisions in history." Oh, you can't make it up. And there's another headline that says, Justice Roberts does not want to completely overturn Roe versus Wade. I don't know what are the other options going to be. The court has no comment. Again, that's, if you weren't with us earlier, the court did say they will not confirm or deny the authenticity of that, which pretty much tells you it's legit, because if it were not, would they not immediately say that is not a legitimate document? Of course they would. So we have no comment. All right, about 25 past the hour. Clear lines at 844-844-3388. Several other industry headlines to throw your way. What do we see? A semi-truck hauling an oversized load tore up a toll booth in California Sunday evening while trying to pass through the toll plaza. Somebody gets a Dumbass of the Week nominee. About 9:30 Sunday evening at the Bay Bridge Toll Plaza in Oakland. According to the ABC affiliate, the semi was hauling oversized steel beams on I-80 when it attempted to pass through the toll booths. The steel beams turned out to be too large to pass through the booth, and the booth was ripped off its foundation and then pulled into a lane of traffic. A car then crashes into the debris directly following the crash. They do say the toll booths were empty at the time of the crash due to a switch to electronic tolling. No injuries reported as a result. Not clear if any citations were issued as a result of the incident, which is still under investigation. Then a truck driver arrested after stealing a semi-truck in an apparent attempt to replace one that he got stuck in the mud. Do what? 39-year-old Joshua Osborne arrested Friday morning in Hamburg, Iowa. According to 6 News, Osborne was driving his semi-truck near Maine and Willis in Hamburg when he somehow got his truck or his rig stuck in the mud. Police believe he then broke into another semi-truck that was parked nearby and drove away from the scene. Osborne then reportedly left the semi-truck and trailer and ran into an abandoned home nearby. Police eventually discovered his hiding spot with the help of the canine police. I don't know, what was he up to? Osborne has since been arrested on charges of operating without owner's consent and third-degree burglary, held on a $5,000 bond, and a Dumbass of the Week nomination. I think I touched on it briefly Friday morning. Yeah, going back to the big story at that point in time, which that's Twitter, Elon Musk purchasing Twitter. Is that going to be on the back burner or what? Because everything is going to be Roe versus Wade. A Drudge, big bold headline. End of Roe. Opinion leak. But again, at the time, the big story was Tesla, Elon Musk, the deal to acquire Twitter. And as we know, it's probably going to take a few months for the deal to officially close. But there's a landowner in Texas that offered Elon a potential next step. Schwertner Farms CEO Jim Schwertner says, "Hey there, Elon. I got 100 acres of land. Free. I'll give it to you. Just build your new headquarters for Twitter here. 38 miles north of Austin in Williamson County. We'll give you 100 acres of land, absolutely free." Now, that's almost 500,000 square yards, gratis. All you have to do to claim it is move your headquarters from that overtaxed congressional district represented by Nancy Pelosi, move it to the Lone Star State. Which I'm thinking, there's got to be a distinct possibility he might just do that. He's already moved his Tesla headquarters from California to Texas, remember? This is an incredibly enticing offer for a couple of reasons. Texas is a successful state for many large companies, including the likes of ExxonMobil, AT&T, Dell Technologies. Elon himself is very familiar with running a business in Texas because back in October he announced Tesla was moving their headquarters from California to Texas. According to their website, Tesla is now headquartered in Austin, Texas. So if he were to move Twitter to this plot of land, he would be within about 40 miles of Tesla. Twitter and Tesla in very close proximity. Yet then, of course, you've got 2 other companies, SpaceX and Boring Company, also operating out of Texas as we speak. Samsung announced plans last year to build a new manufacturing facility in Taylor, Texas. That's about 20 miles from Schwertner. And Mr. Schwertner said he hoped to convince Elon to be part of the astronomical growth in the area, especially when you've got Samsung coming to Taylor. I mean, this area is just exploding right now, and we want to be part of this explosive growth. Now, Elon's history suggests he may very well be willing to move Twitter to the Lone Star State. I just think with all the stuff he's done, he obviously likes Texas, or he wouldn't have moved from California. So that was one of at least two offers. They had the offer from West Virginia, I believe, was the other state that was offering, trying to entice Elon to bring Twitter to their state. It is 844-844-3388. Clear lines on a Tuesday morning, the Steve Sommers Overnight Drive.
USA Radio News with Kenneth Burns.
Russia's 10-week invasion of Ukraine has cost the lives of 3,000 civilians. USA Radio's Tim Burke leads off this hour.
The United Nations made that announcement Monday, but the Office of the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights believes the actual number is much higher. Their figure shows at least another 3,000 have been hurt in the fighting. The UN specifically mentioned multiple regions, including Mariupol, are places where there are allegations of numerous civilian casualties. From the USA Radio News Phoenix Bureau, I'm Tim Berg.
Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer joining the chorus of condemnation against remarks made by Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov on Italian television, claiming falsely that Hitler was Jewish.
Mr. Lavrov's comments are just sickening and deserve to be condemned by all who oppose the dangers of anti-Semitism.
This is USA Radio News.
Hello, neighbor. Pat Boone here. You know, they say every dark cloud has a silver lining, right? Well, today I'm going to prove it. Rising political and economic uncertainty is increasing market volatility. This flight to safety is pushing up gold and silver prices like never before. So, to help protect listeners, Swiss America has a very special offer. Historic silver Walking Liberty $50 at the amazingly low price of just
$12.50 each, delivered.
That's right.
$12.50 each, delivered.
While supplies last. Call 800-289-2646 now, which spells 800 BUYCOIN, buy coin. Put a silver lining in your portfolio now. Call 800-289-2646 or online at SwissAmerica.com, 800-289-2646, and you can tell them Pat Boone gave you the number.
You're listening to the Overnight Drive with Steve Sommers.
The Hotshot Secret Facebook page gets a lot of robust Q&A about diesel problems and their solutions. We listen to our customers. Here are their words straight from their mouths about Hotshot Secret Everyday Diesel Treatment. Our fans call it EDT.
I'm John Sharp, a.k.a. J Sharp from Newburgh, Pennsylvania. Using EDT, my local fuel mileage went to average of 22 to 23, and my highway MPG went to 26 to 28.
Hi, I'm Danny. I'm from Arizona. I drive a 02 Ford Excursion. I use EDT at every fill-up, and my mileage went from 12.5 miles to gallon to 14 miles per gallon. I highly recommend it.
Everyday Diesel Treatment delivers a 6-in-1 premium fuel treatment for every fill-up, every time.
Everyday Diesel Treatment is available at truck stops, Tractor Supply, O'Reilly's Auto Parts, and online at HotShotSecret.com. Hot Shot Secret, powered by science.
How do you sleep on the road? After downtime, do you wake up well-rested and invigorated or tired, achy, and sore? Well, if it's the latter, you're not sleeping on the Big Rig Mattress. The Big Rig Mattress is a hybrid with an individually pocketed spring core that's engineered to deliver the best restorative sleep for your time on the road. Learn more about the Big Rig Mattress at thebigrigmattress.com or call 877-736-4233. The Big Rig Mattress, 100% made in the USA since 2009.
You work hard. You deserve a seat that works just as hard as you do. The Bostrom T-Series seat has provided drivers with comfort for millions of miles over the past 3 decades. Each seat is built right here in the USA, and has 4-position front cushion tilt and higher low-profile air suspension with isolator. It's also equipped with many standard and optional comfort features, such as high and mid backrests, 9.4-inch fore-aft slide adjustment, adjustable armrests, and manual or dual air lumbar support systems to keep you comfortable throughout your ride. Build your T-Series seat today at BostromSeating.com and ensure your ultimate comfort for wherever the road takes you. Bostrom Seating, the ultimate comfort for the open road.
At Turbo 3000, our founder Andy Matouche firmly believed you should challenge yourself.
Put the most money back in your pocket, where it belongs. Four Wheeler magazine took our challenge, and they wrote it did exactly what we said it would do.
As fuel prices keep going up, get your Turbo 3000 from manufacturer direct. Call us at 888-311-9993. Always free shipping in the USA, and for a limited time, save $45 off total purchase using coupon code STEVESAVES at turbo3000.com.
To some people, the sound of a baby babbling doesn't mean much. But that's not necessarily true. By 6 months, they're combining vowels and consonants. By 9 months, they're trying out different kinds of sounds. And by 12 months, their babbling is beginning to take on some meaning. Especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Early screening and intervention can make a lifetime of difference and unlock a world of possibilities. Take the first step at autismspeaks.org. A public service announcement brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
We know you'd like to be cuddled up real tight with a sweet little thing all night. But instead, you've got Steve Sommers. It's the Overnight Drive.
Indiana's schedule starts in a rush and goes out like a lion. Michigan and Ohio stay busy all summer. And Buckeyes, Wolverines, and Hoosiers can all agree Region 2 polling is second to none. From National Tractor Pullers Association headquarters in Columbus, Ohio, this is the Ntpa Overnight Radio Report. A few weeks ago, we toured the Ntpa's Grand National schedule state by state. You can still catch that report in the Overnight Radio Report archives on the front page at ntpapull.com or read it for yourself on our schedule page. This week and next, let's have a look at some of the great regional, national, and state-level action to be found within the Ntpa's many membership organizations. We'll begin with the states that comprise the association's Region 2. In Indiana, it's the Rush County Fair Poll in Rushville on June 27th. The Arcola National Poll at Branning Park in Arcola, Indiana on July 8th and 9th. The Cass County Fair Poll in Logansport on July 15th. Thunder in the Park in Roanoke on September 9th. And the Lynn Lions Club Poll in Lynn on September 10th. Plus, the Hoosier State Tractor Pullers Association has great events scheduled for Richmond on June 21st, the Indiana State Fair in Indianapolis on July 30th, and Gaston on September 16th. In Michigan, the Blanchard Days Festival in Blanchard has polling on June 17th and 18th. The Bob Gilliland Memorial Poll hits Fremont on June 25th. The Summer Sizzler will heat up Doors Foxfire Pullers Track on July 2nd. The Eaton County Fair Poll invades Charlotte on July 14th and 15th. The Van Buren Youth Fair Poll hosts Ntpa action on July 19th. The Monroe County Fair Poll has a pro-national event on August 4th. The Branch County Fair Poll in Coldwater is August 10th, and they'll pull all day at the Celebration on the Pond at Celebration Acres in Morley on August 13th. The Berrien County Youth Fair Poll reaches Berrien Springs on August 15th. The Hudsonville Community Fair Poll in Hudsonville is on August 24th. The Allegan County Fair Poll is in Allegan on September 14th. And the Hillsdale County Fair Poll in Hillsdale expands to 2 nights on September 29th and 30th. Plus, the Wolverine Pullers Association has events in Adrian on July 24th, in Saline on September 3rd, and in Centerville on September 23rd and 24th. In Ohio alone, we have 20 events, so let's get to it. The Paulding County Fair Poll in Paulding on June 17th. The Maumee Valley Pullers Summer Nationals in Wauseon on June 18th. The Harrison County Fair Poll in Cadiz on June 23rd. The Angry Farmer Products Ntpa Nationals in Croton on July 1st and 2nd. The Marion County Fair Poll in Marion on July 7th. The Clinton County Fair Ntpa Nationals in Wilmington on July 16th. The Fayette County Fair Poll in Washington Courthouse on July 23rd. The Union County Fair Poll in Marysville on July 29th. The Preble County Fair Poll in Eaton and the Champaign County Fair Poll in Urbana, both on August 5th. The Columbiana County Fair Poll in Lisbon on August 6th. The Erie County Fair Poll in Sandusky on August 12th. The Muskingum County Fair Poll in Zanesville on August 14th. The Great Dark County Fair Poll in Greenville on August 23rd. The Richwood Independent Fair Poll in Richwood on August 31st. The Emmy Miller Tri-State Showdown Pro-National event in Wauseon on September 2nd. The Stark County Fair Poll in Canton on September 2nd and 3rd. The Hancock County Fair Poll in Findlay on September 4th. The Tuscarawas County Fair Poll in Dover on September 23rd. And the Dragway 42 Fall Shootout in West Salem on September 24th. For more information on Indiana and Michigan events, visit these states' websites: HSTPAPULL.com for the Hoosier State Tractor Pullers and WolverinePullers.com. And details on all the national events may be found at NTPAPULL.com. Reporting for the NTPA on the Overnight Drive, I'm John Dunlap. Stay safe and pull hard.
I saw a couple of the photographs. Big stadium packed with people. I mean, packed and stacked. And to the tune, I believe it was close to 102,000 people. That's a lot of people. Yes, it was over the weekend where apparently the ground beneath Louisiana boots trembled. Just east of the Mississippi River in Baton Rouge, nestled into the Louisiana State University campus, Garth Brooks performed a local fan favorite at the jam-packed Tiger Stadium. But the furor was so strong that apparently it actually registered as a small earthquake, according to the university's seismograph. Yeah, top videos. Wow. Yeah, fans recorded the song as the stadium sang "Callin' Baton Rouge." Yeah, word for word. All right. Yes, the LSU Twitter account responded, attaching a photograph of the seismograph with the recorded earthquake during that song. Tiger Stadium holds over 102,000 people. The stadium was sold out for the Brooks concert. Wow. Callin' Baton Rouge, the token tune at the university, according to Outsider. Playing the song is kind of a tradition at LSU football and basketball games, and a number of bars around the campus play it as the night winds down. Garth Brooks sharing his gratitude after the show, to which he says, "LSU, tonight was better than my wildest dreams. Callin' Baton Rouge." I don't know. I'm not even familiar with this song. Oh, well, written in the late 1970s by Dennis Rind, recorded by Newgrass Revival in 1989, Brooks unearthed the song with his bluegrass twist, and it hit number 2 on the country charts. I'm sure I'd recognize it if I heard it. It's just not ringing a bell off the top of my head. But all right, morning, Vic. What's been going on?
Oh, not a whole lot. I was just listening to you. I was thinking about that earthquake registering. I was wondering what caused it to register an earthquake. Was it, people stomping in the stands, or the music, or whatever? Because, you've heard the old stories about getting the harmonic resonance going, on bridges and stuff that can cause them to collapse. And I was just thinking about the stands and everything else that was there. But anyway, I digress a minute there. And but before I really called about this abortion and the old Agenda 21 of the United Nations that we had talked about several times about 20 years ago. And it's like we're basically fulfilling most of what people wanted with Agenda 21. And I don't know how many of the current listeners are familiar with that, but by and large, they wanted to, as Barack Obama said, fundamentally transform America and the whole world, and they're just kind of keep herding people into little pigeonholes, and they don't want them to get out of that, whether it's, in businesses or residences or anything else. It's, I guess you'd have to say also based on the novel 1984, that we're having things of that nature going on. And
George
when
Orwell.
you were mentioning, right, George Orwell, and whenever you were mentioning this abortion thing that come up, it's like, did you ever notice, Steve, that every time we start getting serious about something, it seems like that abortion issue pops its head up and people get all excited about these emotional issues. And in this particular case, remember they proposed this truth squad that they're going to have, and they're going to go after people that are putting out disinformation. Now, to me, that's a whole lot more serious than this abortion, because I don't think abortion is the big issue here in 2021, 2022 that it was before. And this is kind of to show you how they approach this thing. Most of the people that were getting abortions, and I think if you look back at that, the majority were people of other than white race. Most of them were people of color, which to me, that would be kind of racist. But then I found out, I watched a thing today, and I didn't realize it, but you know how you have zoning that protects all the different neighborhoods and everything else. So, some lard rendering factory doesn't move right into your neighborhood and drive the value of the property down and things of that nature. Well, they have now decided that neighborhoods zoned as single-family residences are racist in Minnesota. So, it's like, I don't know how they had a rather convoluted way of getting to that. And they basically said, people of color couldn't move into those neighborhoods and all this other type of stuff. So therefore, it had to be discriminatory. It's like, well,
wow.
A lot of those neighborhoods, poor whites can't move into them either. It's more about the money than it is about, what color they are. But and I thought, well, that's the opening volley in this, because now they got the federal court case in one district. We're going back to the old blockbusting days of the 1970s, and realtors are going to make a lot of money. And at the end of the day, the people they supposedly trying to help they aren't going to be helped anymore. They're going to be right back to where they were before. They'll be back into a rundown neighborhood, and property values won't be increasing. So, and then that's just one thing, and there are a lot of other things that were going on. And I heard where when I sent you that thing about DEFCON, and I mentioned about the semiconductors. That reminds me. Did you get the thing that I tried to forward to you about all the semiconductor businesses that are going on in the Baltic states there next to Ukraine, Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia? They have quite a thriving semiconductor business going on there. And they also have partnerships with Taiwan, and China got upset about it and warned both Taiwan and the Baltic states not to form these partnerships. And I don't know if that, like I said, I don't know if you've seen that article or not that I tried to forward to you.
Yeah, I think we touched on that last week, wasn't it, when you sent me that?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, because I've kind of been in and out, and then this is really switching gears. But you have an experiment going on with the Air Force at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base that they are using dandelions to harvest latex to make tars, aircraft tars with. Now, I don't know much about it. I know Shell's a part of it, and of course Akron up there, that used to be the rubber capital of the world. But when you were mentioning dandelions last week,
right. How many? I had an abundance of them out there in the yard. Yes.
yeah, and well, I do too. And I've had to have some battles with my HOA, and I've tried to explain to them. In Europe, they have people planting dandelions because they don't want you using fertilizer and pesticides on your yards over there, because dandelions actually will build up the soil. And anyway, they have a deep taproot, and they actually create nitrogen in the soil, and they're very beneficial. And they're also a herb. I guess you've heard of the dandelion wine and the different treatments and everything.
Right.
And they're actually a good liver treatment there. But anyhow, I kind of digress there. But when I heard back to what I really wanted to stress was that if you go back and look at Agenda 21, and that involves all political parties, and it's basically about somebody trying to seize all the power, and they want to be, it's basically going back to the old days of royalty and aristocracy is what it is all about. But they're trying to sell it as, the people are going to be benefited in the long run, which they aren't. But if they can get the public convinced about that, and whenever, like right now, we had the war going on there in Ukraine, which for the life of me, I can't understand what motivated Putin to do that. But
Exactly.
But
Yep. That's what I was thinking. I mentioned that earlier. Why does he continue to progress? I guess for the sake of, doesn't want to be embarrassed. He's going to continue to pursue this, and it ain't going well for him at all.
No, I guess his arms supply are way down, and I believe Russia has. It's not the largest gold stocks, but he's up there within the first 5, and they have a massive amount of the gold stock there in Russia. I don't know if somebody's trying to get to that, because he's gonna owe some. Russia is going to owe some war reparations at the end of the day, because there was no justification. And so, like I said, for the life of me, I don't understand why Putin did it, and don't understand why we in this country didn't employ the old CIA economic warfare program, because we've done it many, many times before. We know how to prevent these things, and why that was not employed to, like I said, they could have just said, you don't have to join NATO and EU, Ukraine. We'll just cool that talk down, and then we'll just make arrangements to where you can do a lot of business with the West. And then we had treaties to protect a lot of those Baltic states anyway. So, but Putin was absolutely, what I want to say, fixated on this deal with NATO and EU. So why they didn't cool that talk, and you know how people do sometimes. Yep. Well, okay, I won't do this or that, and then they start taking action that has the same effect. So
well, that's your typical politician in Washington D.C., right? That's what they do on a daily. That's what they do on a daily basis.
Right, and well, even this abortion, that's the whole thing. It's like the public gets irate. Remember how everybody got upset about Obamacare back there in 2010 and all that, and then the next thing you know, they start changing the topic around. And I mean, it's like we said, it's a well-worn path to the outhouse. So why we did not employ that to prevent this war, I don't know, and I don't know exactly. They said they sent a CIA director over there to warn Putin or do something, and it's like I don't know what he warned him about or said to him or what was going on in Putin's mind. But they say he's supposed to have cancer surgery here, and so I don't know, but I do have to think that he's lost it, and then attacking civilian areas and things. I mean, it makes no sense whatsoever to me. But again, maybe it's part of Agenda 21.
I'm looking at a report from I guess that's the Sun. Is that the London, the Daily Sun, whatever the case may be, which says Vladimir Putin is likely to be suffering from Parkinson's and early-stage dementia, while his paranoia and fear over traitors is driving him insane. So says a former KGB agent. Now, his health has been the source of speculation for quite some time. This is not something new. Our intelligence suggests he has some serious health issues, despite his press secretary insisting, he's in excellent health. Well, hell, isn't that what our doctor, the president's doctor, Biden's fine, he's fine. Pay no attention to his cognitive issues. Well, that's what they're supposed to do, right? But as Putin's recent public appearances, following the invasion of Ukraine, which is in shambles technically, ex-Russian spy Boris Kapitov. Now, if he was a spy, can you trust him? He could be playing both sides of the fence, right? He said even members of Putin's inner circle would not be told about the state of his health to protect that strong man image. He is a Russian defector who now lives in the UK. He said, paranoid Putin views everyone as a traitor, and his health is an especially sensitive issue. He is, or at least acts, insane and obsessed by paranoia ideas. He is so suspicious and so obsessed with his paranoia ideas, he could now be compared to Stalin. He said it's likely that Mad Vlad is suffering from numerous health conditions. As I said, the early stages of dementia, Parkinson's. I'm not a medic myself, he said, but there is a serious concern that he's suffering from numerous physical conditions, possibly from the sport injuries during his younger years. This, along with some of the issues that affect older people, dementia, maybe in the early stages, but he is well known in his inner circle as a person who does not forget anything and who recalls details of many people he met. Another potential issue might be, judging from how he moves, that he may be suffering the initial stages of either Parkinson's or another serious disorder caused by some form of cancer, a brain tumor, for example. So, of course, Kremlin denies anything's wrong with their beloved leader. But he is 70 years old now, and he appeared confused and out of breath as he was wheezing his way through his latest speech, where he threatened the West with nuclear weapons. He seemed to struggle to catch his breath. He paused several times, kind of stumbled over his words, and just looked exhausted. Mad Vlad. All right, I look at the clock there. So, we are out of time here on this Tuesday morning. We'll wrap it up like that. Come on back at the midnight hour tonight. We'll do it again. Another edition of the Steve Sommers Overnight Drive, live from the Hot Shot Secret Studios.
You never guess the places that I've been. You never guess the places that I've been. 'Cause everything is like a dream, yeah, but only in that dream that I live in. I'm never gonna let the day begin. Never gonna let the day begin. 'Cause everything is like a dream, yeah, but only in that dream that I live in. Oh, don't wake me up before you go, and I'll just make this bed my home. Oh, darling, please just let me sleep. give me my dreams. Better from above. Nothing's ever as it seems, yeah, except in that world that I dream of. Never gonna lose the ones I love. Never gonna lose the ones I love. 'Cause everything is like a dream, yeah, but only in that world that I dream of.